Good afternoon, everyone. I've traveled here long from San Francisco. It's a great honor to be here. I want to thank the team at the Crypto Finance Conference for the invitation. Storecoin is the first public blockchain with permanently free transactions, dynamic economics, a very decentralized consensus, and governance inspired by the checks and balances of the United States Constitution. I recommend, if you're interested in learning more about Storecoin after my talk, to go to the website right now, and you can actually get this out on your phones. This is the only piece of information that I'll give on the future of our plans. It's storeco.in/CFC18. Storecoin is solving the transaction fee problem inside of mobile and web applications. Today, it costs over 35 cents, 2.5% to 3% of every transaction fee to process the transaction. This completely eliminates small transactions, less than 35 cents and less than a penny. Storecoin is going to unlock what we call crypto-powered transactions, free transactions for mobile and web application developers all around the world. And our mission is very simple. It's to become global infrastructure for the internet, to power free payments and free transactions for the internet at scale forever. Our token partners to date, so far, we've been a very private project. We've had 2 private token sales. Both have been largely oversubscribed. We were the first project of Block Tower Capital, Ari David Paul. We were the first project of Michael Arrington's new Arrington XRP Capital. And we have a number of other great partners as well. Again, if you're interested in learning more about the future of what we're doing and to get involved, you want to go to the URL storeco.in/CFC18. So our team. We've been thinking very long about this problem of how to bring application payments or blockchain-powered payments directly into the application layer. It's a very mature team, very professional. And myself, I'm on the blockchain initiative at the World Economic Forum. I've been building software. I started in my dorm room when I was in college for the last 15 years. I've learned a lot. Been building blockchain-based technology since 2013. Actually attempted to do Storecoin and using a previous company that I started. We try to put Bitcoin into an application so that through API calls, payments could happen. Problem is, Bitcoin obviously takes 10 minutes to process a transaction. Very expensive. Scripting APIs make it challenging to build sort of dynamic application environments. Our CTO, Rag, and I have been working together since 2012. Rag has scaled Cisco. He's scaled Apple. He's one of the smartest decentralized and distributed engineers in the world. That's my opinion. We'll see shortly. We have a great advisory board that is very hands-on with our project. Ari Paul is one of the most intellectually honest individuals, I think, in the blockchain space. He's a strategic advisor for our project. Mark Ramberg previously he was the general manager of Amazon Web Services, Media and Entertainment. He is likely going to help us in a much larger capacity as the project unfolds. Nate Lubin helps with communications and marketing. Previously, Nate was the digital director for the White House during the President Obama years. He also ran marketing for President Obama's 2008 and 2012 campaign. He's one of the smartest individuals I've ever met. Noah Ruderman is a technology advisor. Noah is currently an infrastructure engineer at Facebook, and he, in his spare time, teaches classes in San Francisco for people to learn advanced crypto economics and security. And Stephen McKeon is a professor at the University of Oregon, professor of economics and finance, and he is one of the leading thinkers on crypto economics today. Simply put, Storecoin aims to be the best blockchain protocol for permanently fast, free, and scalable payments. Currently, today, with our research and development, we've been able to achieve 5,000 transactions per second. Our dynamic proof-of-stake algorithm will enable those transactions to be free. We're in the midst of research introducing a master node into Storecoin. It's called an e-agent, where we think we can achieve 100,000 plus transactions per second. This is important. So Storecoin is a decentralized public blockchain just like EOS, just like Tezos, just like Ethereum. But instead of smart contracts where decentralized applications get built on top of the blockchain, Storecoin is going directly into the application layer. So we call these crypto-powered apps or CApps. It's a new space. Our vision here is if you're an application developer, you can come to Storecoin. We can incentivize you by giving you, let's say, 10,000 Storecoins to start with. And when your users do things like sign up, when they invite their friends, when they take important actions in your app, you can assign them store coins. And using decentralized exchanges, they can trade those or keep those or use those in the app itself. Every app in the world potentially can have a Storecoin wallet. This is the API layer and the ecosystem layer for Storecoin. And the question is, well, how big is this market? Well, if you think about it, today there are millions of web and mobile application developers that are processing trillions of API calls with billions of users. So we see Storecoin being able to turn these basic API calls into paid and monetizable API calls where there's zero fees. And we can do this for the global internet. We do this with dynamic proof of stake, a consensus algorithm invented by our team. This is a broad overview of the permissioned versus permissionless consensus algorithms in the market today. And again, you can actually dive into this on our site at storeco.in. Storecoin sits beside, our DIPOS algorithm sits beside proof of work, proof of stake, DPOS, and some of the permissioned algorithms such as federated consensus. So let's dive into what makes Storecoin work. We'll talk about free transactions, high throughput, dynamic crypto economics, decentralized security, and a US Constitution-inspired governance system. So free transactions. This is important because currently blockchains that are proposing free transactions actually will only enable free transactions up until the inflation is met, and then it will require developers to stake tokens in order to deliver free transactions to its users. Our algorithm enables free transactions to occur at scale forever. And we do this through inflation. We take 5% of the yearly token inflation, we cap it, and we use that to pay consensus. We use that to pay the blockchain so it can operate and it can process. So what that means is 4% of that is paid on a yearly basis, on a daily basis, to our validators, to our e-agents, and to our gov nodes. Those are the workers who make the blockchain work. 1% is paid to actually endows the Storecoin organization on a yearly basis. That pays for engineering, it pays for governance, it pays for OpEx, it pays for protocol upgrades. We've created a model in which Storecoin can remain in the black forever and operate forever using inflation. Dynamic economics. The way to think about this is the underlying nature of Storecoin is like similar to the economics of Uber surge pricing and Lyft surge pricing, real-time supply and demand pricing. And when we've built Storecoin from the ground up, we did it with an economics first logic. We started out by studying the historical behavior of major protocols like Bitcoin and Ethereum. We found that on Ethereum, there's a 94% correlation between transaction volume and transaction price. That told us that we need to optimize for transaction volume for real use cases. In addition to that, you do have to eliminate velocity or limit velocity, so there is a percentage of Storecoin that is incentivized to always be held. And if you're curious, Bitcoin, it's a 68% correlation between transaction volume and transaction price, yet 94% correlation between the size of the transaction, so Bitcoin gets more valuable if you send $10 versus $1. And we've modeled out our economics in a very advanced way. One very interesting design decision for us is to ensure that a question is, how do we take 5% inflation and spread it across 365 days without actually being attacked where that inflation goes away? So we've solved for that. High throughput. So scaling is a challenge, that's no secret. Our e-agent design, we think, gets us to 100,000 transactions per second. We'll be releasing papers for peer review here over the next quarter that show the math and the code and the logic that goes into our designs. Right now, you can go to our website and actually see how our tests are evolving. We're running a series of 6 tests. We're more or less building in the public. Decentralized security. We think security is maybe the most important thing on a public blockchain. It's a very hard challenge to solve because attacks get more complex, they're long, they're short range, and then obviously they're Sybil attacks, so how do we solve that? As transaction volume increases in our network, the price to more or less do things on our network increases. The price to stake, the price to send transactions, or the bond to send transactions, the cost to file tickets. And this basically prevents, in theory, attacks, because if we find you as an attacker, we're going to burn your stake or burn your bond, and we're going to pay our security guards, and we're going to boot you from the network. So as transaction volume increases, it's likely that either we're hitting some form of protocol market fit, and or there's a attack happening. So we've created a way to make that attack quite expensive. For security itself, we are introducing what's called a security guard, a decentralized security guard. So you can run a node on Storecoin. You can study all validator behavior. You can study all transaction behavior and report tickets that potentially bad attacks to our organization. If we find them to be bad, we'll actually burn the stake of the bad sender or the bad validator and give it to you as the D-guard. This is a breakthrough in blockchain security. Free transactions, so to prevent inflation from folks from DDoSing our transactions, trying to cut our inflation out of our network, we require every transaction to include a tiny bond. You get that bond back once the D-guards prove that that transaction was fair, and you get it back with interest. So in theory, every transaction includes a little bit of staking. Transactions are instant, but we do this to ensure that limit attacks. And then governance inspired by the United States Constitution. Two things. One, there's no centralization of power. And two, that security matters most. Leading thinkers in the space have shown appreciation for the thoughtfulness in our governance model. And to get through this, I'm going to run through this quick. And you can learn more at storeco.in, but there's 4 branches of governance. There's the D branch, there's the executive branch, there's the security branch, and the judicial branch. The D branch is kind of like Congress. The executive branch is a little like the White House. The security branch is like the NSA. And the judicial branch is like the Supreme Court. And the logic of this is more or less that we've designed in our charter the way governance is hired. So myself as the CEO, I can only serve for 8 years maximum. And the board of directors can more or less fire me at any time. I vest for 8 years, our CTO vests for 8 years, our CSO vests for 8 years. We're thinking very long term about this. The board has to be approved by the decentralized branch. If the decentralized branch proposes a change and it goes through the lower and upper chamber, it goes to the executive branch to approve. The executive branch can reject it, but the decentralized branch can overrule the executive branch. There's a lot of really nuanced logic here, but it is very first principles thought through. You can learn how checks and balances work on our site. You can learn how every token owner on the system can actually create change on the network. Everyone has a voice. And governance matters because it takes a system that has been vetted for hundreds of years, the United States Constitution, and it removes the politics and it replaces it with technology. So our goal at public launch 2019 is to have 100,000 wallets, token owners. These owners, these wallets will become our validator nodes, our security guards, they'll become our e-agents, they'll become part of our core staff. This is how we're bootstrapping a network. We also aim to own the namespace #money. We want that in the future, the API level, to make Storecoin apps happen. We're launching a marketing campaign here that anyone in our community takes a photo of a cash register and posts it to social media, tells us, we'll send them a t-shirt. And they have to put the #money. So that's it. If you'd like to learn more, storeco.in, CFC 18. It's been a great honor. Thank you, everyone, and safe travels home.